Saint Seiya, Knights of the Zodiac Season 2 is finally on Netflix, and definitely I was excited just to watch it. I reviewed the Season 1, and I would say that I had mixed feelings about it. There were a lot of things that I was very unhappy with, but there were a lot of things that I kind of like, and I understood what they were trying to accomplish. They were trying to reach a newer audience, a younger audience, and definitely you can feel it in the show. It's not as mature as the original anime or the original manga. Of course, now with Season 2, I had expectations low, and I want to share with you in this video how I feel about the show. Is it good? Does it improve? Or is it worse? So stay tuned. Dig good. First, I gotta point this out. I'm in love with the intro song. The Struts played this cover, something new, and he plays homage to the classic song of the show. And in my opinion, perhaps it's one of the reasons I'm still watching the show. It's just because I want to watch the intro. Matter of fact, I sometimes have to repeat it over and over because it's a catchy song, and it brings so many memories of my childhood watching the show. So I would say that's a plus for me. Beyond the song, the most important aspect of any work of fiction is the story. And I would say that the story on Season 2 has improved over Season 1. I really like the story a little more than I did Season 1. Of course, there were a lot of disappointing things. The foundation was set. There were a lot of changes to the original story, trying to accommodate, I would say, to Western audiences as well, a young Western audience, which was very disappointing. But the story, it improves because it becomes a bit more mature. I feel that it has a little more level of maturity. In my opinion, that's good. Now it's going into a new adventure. Now they are battling the Silver Knights. And it retains some of the parts of the original anime, which I'm very glad. There are elements, of course, it's an adaptation, shorter, but most importantly, I feel that it has the essence of, in this case, the original anime, and in my opinion, that's a plus. The bad. Now it's time to talk about the bad, and we're going really fast into it. I think the thing that disappointed me the most was the animation. Of course, the animation is now, I would say, the greatest asset in this show, but I felt at the beginning of this season that it was getting better in comparison to Season 1. I felt that, man, this is getting better. The animation was more fluid, was stronger, the quality was there. I really like it. But then all of a sudden I feel that the last episodes where the animation was worse. It's like it got better and then it went to worse. And in my opinion, I felt that was very disappointing. It was very boxy by the end, very stiff. And of course, a lot of people are going to point out that this type of 3D animation is not good or not conducive for anime. And I'm going to disagree because I've seen really great 3D shows that have been animated really nicely. And they use anime as the basis to how they do it. Because if you know anime, it's all about close-ups, all about creating the effect of speed. And they could do the same thing with 3D. However, I feel that they went into the more classic route. I would say trying to impress more like the younger audience, I would say. But it takes away from the quality of really performing something that is out of this world and is very flashy. Because you look in the intro is flashy and it has great animation. And of course, you expect the same thing in the show, but you don't have it. So definitely I feel that they dropped the ball. Toei Animation dropped the ball on that department. Another disappointment for me, and I would say perhaps it's more like a nitpick, but it does have an impact on the story itself, is to me the translation. Now, I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not gonna say that I understand the original language. I do like to watch the show. I've been watching the show in Japanese and of course have the subtitles. However, the subtitles in English are not that great. And how do I know the difference? Is because I do also, I watch the show twice, so I watch it once in Japanese and another time in Spanish. I also kind of watch it in English. And I had in this case, the Japanese with the Spanish subtitles, and then I tried it with the English subtitles, and I realized that the Spanish version is more accurate, or it does have, keeps some things a little more mature in level. There are a couple of words that they don't say in Spanish that they say in English, a little more stronger words, I would say, that can come across as insulting in Spanish or offensive, particularly for kids. but they keep the names of the characters as originally they were, intended. Not like in the English version, but it's something that was done in the season 1 where they changed the names of the characters to accommodate to English speakers. So I feel that in that, again, I just feel like it's not 100% accurate whether in Spanish or English, but Spanish does a much better job in really translating the Japanese language than in this case, the English does. So in my opinion, that was a disappointment. It is disappointing because I want things to be as clear as possible. So yeah, it is a nitpick. Some people will not notice, but to me, I want to keep the names of these characters the way they were from as I remember watching the original anime back in the 80s, back in the 90s. So I feel that, of course, that's a big disappointment. In conclusion, I gotta tell you this. Part of me wants to love the show, and part of me wants to hate the show. And I'm in between. I kind of like it. I kind of dislike it. There are a lot of things that I would say that I enjoy in this season more than season 1. I think that there were improvements. Definitely there were improvements in the animation, in the story, but not, I would say, not enough to really say that this show is totally apart from the crowd. It is not, unfortunately. Yes, they try to do things to entice the older fan base to come back to the show, but they didn't do enough. They didn't do what was necessary. And of course, it means that they have to kind of probably strip the whole show entirely and start from scratch, but they're not going to do it. And so definitely part of me feels that there were things that were better, but a lot of things did not change at all and make things perhaps even worse in the end. So if I have to give this show a final score, I would say it's a 6.5 out of 10. Which means it's half a point better than the previous season, but still not good enough to become a 7, which in my opinion is good. So it's still above average. That's all it is. But what do you think? Do you like the show? Have you watched the show? Are you a fan of the Knights of the Zodiac, Saint Seiya? Let me know in the comments below. I would like to hear your opinion. So once again, my friends, thanks for watching. God bless, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.